Educational Summit of MTC Global. My namaste. The topic is contextual and interesting. Combating climate change, the role of education. Before I introduce the topic, I would like to take refuge in what Greta Thunberg said at United Nations Climate Action Summit in New York a couple of years ago. You have stolen my childhood and my dreams with your empty words. You are failing us, but young people are starting to understand your betrayal. The eyes of all future generations are upon you, and if you choose to fail us, I say we will never forgive you. A 12-year-old child is speaking about it, and our organization, led by a gentle, simple, and wonderful person, Bholana Datta, has taken us to this wonderful topic, very impending, gnawing in the eyes of the humankind. Let me talk about Sri Bholananji for a minute. In our Vedic culture, a leader is not made. Leader is not made in one life. Janma Janmantara, a leader is made. He has to be born for it. For the difficulty is not in organization and making plans. The real test of a leader is holding widely difficult people from different regions of the world together. Verily, Bholanath has held people across the globe together for all these years. And he is selfless. He is doing his duty silently 24/7, 365. And one interesting thing from Vedas, Vedic literature, I'll tell you, a leader must be dasa dasoham. Aham is ego. Soham, I am not this, but I am that part and parcel of that Paramatma. Aham soham dasoham. I am a dasa of that eternal cosmic energy. And finally, this dasoham is, we refer to Hanuman. And we always revere Hanuman. Now finally, dasa dasoham. Aham soham dasoham dasa dasoham. So I try to see these characteristics in our Bholanath. And as a matter of fact, every leader has to rise, taking a leaf from his life for the past 11 years. And I'm glad to tell you that the very first education summit, global summit, was held in Hyderabad. And we were fortunate to kind of help it in the form of food and local hospitality. And very interesting feature is our Dhruva College of Management mission is to co-produce leader managers grounded in intellectual humility and ethical profundity. And those tenets are very much alive according to the Vedic culture. Now coming to the subject, environment plays a very significant role in human civilization. Human beings have close relations with the biosphere in which they live, by the Panchabhutas in biosphere: earth, fire, water, ether, and other things. Human beings have close relations. The whole environment and ecology consisting of, as I told you, earth, air, water, fire, and space provide the necessary and sufficient conditions for sustaining human life. Because of the imbalance in the biosphere, this environment is stultifying. There are so many reasons. I will come to discuss about that. Today, the environmental crisis is a tremendous problem for the whole world. Developing countries and developed countries alike are all suffering. Pollution is by far the most rapidly growing problem in the modern technological society. The condition in India is pretty serious. It is no longer feasible to ignore the alarming nature of India's environmental conditions. So much so, the whole world. The Samskriti, the culture of every country depends on its environment, climatic conditions, and human behavior. Our own culture, geographical conditions, climatic influences, and environmental aspects. Therefore, from this point of Vedic literature, there is a great things to learn from our lore. The Indian saints prescribed acts for avoiding environmental pollution, but we neglected the instructions of the scriptures, sometimes out of total ignorance of the contents of these works. And as recently as the last century, environmental issues and solutions are depicted in Vedic literature. How India helped, especially Britain, the colonial Britain, more literate, is a wonderful research piece enshrined in a book called The Beautiful Tree by Dharmapal. I have got a submission to the August audience. Instead of calling the subject of the day combating climate change, role of education, I would urge, there are two aspects, very beautiful aspects: Vidya and Vaidyam. Vidya is education, Vaidyam is medicine. They can never be profit motive. Once the profit comes into the domain, the efficacy, the sanctity is gone. But I would like to take you to 1836, when Lord Macaulay has written a letter to his father. I'll read. Our English schools are flourishing wonderfully. We find it difficult indeed, at some places impossible, to provide instruction for all who want it. It is a single town of Hooghly, 1400 boys are learning English. The effect of this education on the Hindus is prodigious. No Hindu who has received an English education ever continues to be sincerely attached to his religion. If our plans of education are followed up, there will not be a single idolater among the respectable classes in Bengal 30 years hence, and this will be effected without any effort to proselytize, without the smallest interference with the religious liberty, merely by the natural operation of knowledge and neglection. I heartily rejoice in this aspect. Unless we correct the way we educate our kids, there is no hope. This system is designed to generate aliens and stupid protagonists. What a diabolic statement, diabolic letter he is writing to his father, dated 12th October 1836. The cost-effective teaching methods used in the indigenous private schools of 19th century India were in fact a manifest strength, so much so they were imitated in Britain, then across Europe, and then the world did so much to raise education standards. The Macaulay has stultified the educational growth or our native educational ethos, but whatever they have done it, actually, Indian systems, once they adopted in Britain, there was literacy more in Britain compared to India. In India, in 1854, Thomas Babington Macaulay had established his first school in India, and Tooley, one of the researchers, appropriate heading, "The men who uprooted the beautiful tree," states, by this year, this new system had delivered 452 schools and colleges with total enrollment of 20,000 in 21 districts of Madras Presidency. But 36 years earlier, the Monroe had found out that a total of 11,000 schools and 1,000 colleges with 1.57 lakhs flourished in India. So what kind of damage Macaulay has dealt with this Indian system, Indian beautiful system? Macaulay system has perpetrated and amplified the social distances among the different occupational groups in India. Tooley states, the new public schools became a vehicle to promote caste privilege rather than vehicle for improvement of all. Again, it would seem that the indigenous system had unnoticed strengths in promoting education of all, including the lowest castes. If you go to the lore, before the colonization of the country, there were hundreds and thousands of patashalas. Every village has got a patashala. Thousands and thousands of patashalas. Thousands and thousands, including, and mind you, 70% of this population in a particular school called patashala were Shudras, were deprived classes. The higher echelons of the society were less in number. That was the beauty of the system of Gurukul. Though the government spoke of the resentment of upper class Indians, the fact is that the British education system in its very nature was elitist and often prevented people from lower strata of the society into the echelons of higher education. It was almost a universal phenomenon of colonialism. It should also be noted that while British policy of education to masses was as a means of social control, the indigenous education in India was for empowering and liberating the individuals and society. 19th century South Travancore, I am quoting an example, one of the first victim states of colonialism. Social stagnation and caste oppression reached the levels of social lunacy. He is calling social lunacy. Now my question to Bolanaji and the August audience is, why we are discussing education? Why don't you go into administering the medicine to education? The type of education that is thrust on us for more than a century. Our education was wonderful. Nalanda, Taxila, even Fahian, Hyun-song, the famous philosopher scholars from China, visited India. Having gone through the vagaries, many students from all across the globe used to visit India and study here. The flow was not from India to Oxford or Stanford or Harvard like today, but it was in the opposite direction. That was the beauty of Indian Vedic culture. And what we are doing, why this kind of ecological imbalance, ozone layer depletion has dawned on this wonderful earth. Please understand, the most polluted country by particular particle matter concentration is India, 173. But highest total carbon dioxide emission by country is China, 10 lakh per unit. And the nuclear armed states, the United States, Russia, United Kingdom, France, China, then comes India. It is like a railway compartment. They have got the seat in the compartment and they don't allow others to join in. That is a tragedy. Actually, they have perpetrated these nuclear emissions, they have perpetrated these dangerous armaments, and they have polluted the entire world. And they try to put embargo on the developing nations, especially like India. What is wrong where? Is it not the kind of Brahminic culture? Brahminic culture followed by the elitist societies. Anglicists versus Orientalists. We being Orientalists, we are suffering not only through colonial, British, but even today. They have perpetrated this kind of nonsense in this world, and we are suffering. But whatever it is, the topic chosen is education in combating. But we have to cure the education system per se. Luckily for us, the National Education Policy 2020 has got one wonderful facet, going back to the roots and studying in mother tongue. What a beautiful thing it is. In three language formula, mother tongue is given importance. Mother, Mother Earth, Mother Nature, Motherland, and our own biological mother. The mother tongue is really, really wonderful. Nothing beats mother, nothing beats mother tongue. And mind you, there is a beautiful statement by a scholar of national fame. The moral flabbiness born of the executive worship of the bitch goddess success. I'm repeating for your kind attention. The moral flabbiness born of the exclusive worship of the bitch goddess success. That and the squalid cash interpretation put on word success. Bitch goddess success, cash interpretation of the word success is our national disease. I take you an example. Indian School of Business is there, a Brahminic type of organization. I have nothing against the institution. Even the deans are my friends, and I am there since the inception of the school. Of course, it is younger than Dhruva College of Management, but the most I say, they are drawing 1.5 crore rupees per annum. Why? And the per year tuition fee is 55 lakhs. Why? I really wonder why this disparity. And mind you, there is no regulatory control over that institution. It is not AICT nor UGC. Nothing can deter it. When I wanted, when I requested the President of India to come and adore our Silver Jubilee function that has happened on 15th August 2020, they said it is a private institution. What do you mean by private institution? Even ISB is a private institution. Presidents of America, presidents of other countries visit it, and our own president, our own prime minister visits it. Why this disparity? Why this Brahminic culture? Take our own case, PGDM. The IIMs also offer PGP. They can happily do PhD, but PGDM cannot opt for PhD. Why this disparity? Why this Brahminic culture? Why this association of manager with success? Success will not lead to happiness, please. Success will not lead to happiness. Happiness is different. We believe in quality of living, not standard of living. We are not interested at all. We are interested, of course, in success, but success achieved through dharma, diligence, dignity, jnana, and dharma as enshrined. That is the reason we have established a forum called Access Hyderabad Indian Management Systems Academy. We are trying our best to usher in the ancient Indian wisdom to management curriculum. After all, what is management that is being taught? It is 110 years old, please. Ever since F.W. Taylor has presented scientific management article, whatever that we are learning is only 100 years, bacha management knowledge. But we have our own lore, 5,000 to 10,000 years old. What better motivational aspect you can learn other than Bhagavad Gita? That too enshrined in a war situation. Sri Krishna teaching Arjuna, forlorn, forsaken, and he is motivated. What better kind of hierarchy of needs? Abraham Maslow tells he's just looking outside for satiation of the needs, which are unsatiable: physiological, security, affiliation, esteem, self-actualization. We have seen there is a legendary examples who have fallen from grace because of their temporal needs after achieving the highest of high. But compare the same with our Panchakosha. Only the starting point, Annamaya, that is physiological thing, that is common. Then, as Buddha enshrines in his philosophy of Vipashyanti, look inwards, look intently inside. Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya. Ananda is Atman joining Paramatman. Ananda is eternal. Ananda is Nirvana. And self-actualization is a distant synonym of Nirvana. We have forgotten all these things. Like it is proverbial deer having the divine fragrance in its own body politic is going helter and skelter in the wild forest in search of the same. But it has got in its own body politic. That is to say that our system, our body itself has got Panchabhutas. Like Sri Krishna, as a child, when he was asked to open his mouth by Yashoda, he objected to her. Mommy, don't do that. You cannot take it. But he was forced to open. And she could see Brahmanda within the mouth of Sri Krishna. That is to say that whatever Brahmanda outside is well within our own body politic. The Panchakosha are the Panchabhutas. They are well within us. So what is happening in modern era? The eating system, the living system, the traveling system. What we are doing? Simple example, I say, as Sadhguru says, eating habits. Take vegetarian vegetables. 80% of vegetables is water. And Mother Earth has got 80% water. Our body is also 80% water. Analogous, whatever we eat is coexistent with the body politic. But we have forgotten about our Indian lore, Indian culture, Indian eating habits, Indian simplicity. We are after aerated water, sodas, fast foods. They are all dry, please. Where is the water content? We take flight, we never walk, we never actually barefooted manager. My idea of Dhruva College of Management is cost effective, no profit, and I would love to make barefooted managers. Why bother about it? Say? In the tropical country like India, I'm sorry, our Bolanaji is wearing a two-piece suit. But where is the requirement? I say, where is the requirement? Where is the requirement? After 50 years, one of my friends visited, my engineering classmate. He saw me. I was wearing like I am today, ordinary kurta pajama. As a chairman, you are wearing kurta pajama? Yes. How is it possible? Look down. I was not wearing chappal. The entire campus encapsulated in 800 acres green forest. I roam about, almost all barefooted. And he was wonderstruck. And I am able to say Mr. Ramesh Vemuganti. He is the person who inspected our college at the behest of MTC Global for standardization, for evaluation. Mind you, I have not spent a single pie, not a single pie. Whereas Association of Indian Universities, when they inspected for equation of PGDM with MBA, I have spent more than 1.5 lakhs, apart from their hospitality. And ultimately what they did, they wanted to palm the greases. I don't care. I don't do that. I don't do that. This happens at MTC Global. This happens at Dhruva College of Management. It happens in Indian lore. Who cares? We're not bothered. Like it is, again I repeat, the moral flabbiness born of the exclusive worship of which goddess, that is success. And the squalid cash interpretation of word success is our national disease. Let us go back to the roots, I say. Let us be simple. Let us go on foot to the possible. Let us carpool. Let us buy products only made out of renewable energy. Let us forget about plastic. Let us imbibe. What is education? I say education is only 3 to 4 hours in the college. The millennials, Gen Z are not interested in education at all. Education to be given by the parents, by the environment, by the society, by the community. And what these developed nations are doing, they have to set an example. I say, acharati iti acharya. You have to practice what you preach. What are you practicing? What you preach? You are preaching everything. You are thrusting all these problems on us. But are you practicing it? Definitely I am an acharya. Whatever I think, I tell. Whatever I tell, I practice. I don't bother about the fruits of action enshrined in our own philosophy. And lastly, I would like to take you to our system of living. System of living. Mind you, why Corona is failing to affect us, Indians, in general? Because our own age-old practices. Our own age-old practices, please. We have forgotten that is the education we require, I say. Cow dung, cow ghee. There are so many families in Bhopal gas tragedy. They could save themselves by making a home of this cow dung and cow ghee. The vapors coming out of that could help them live, combat the pollution, the horrific pollution coming out of Bhopal gas tragedy. And our own villages, if you go, the cow dung is used, the cow urine is used as a pesticide. And everything is biodegradable. Simple. The more you are moving away from Mother Earth, more you are getting into trouble. We have lost, we have forgotten our roots. Let us go back to the roots, I say. Let us go back to the roots. To start with, we have at least this mother tongue approach. Let us think of it. That is to say that there must be cure of education instead of what you call asking education or educationists to change. Let us cure education first. Let us bring in this kind of equality, not Brahminic culture. Like I said, I tell you an example. One of my friends is a great professor of strategy. I don't want to take the name. His application was rejected in ISB, I say. I challenge any ISB professor. They don't even accept the application because he is not PhD from Ivy League. When a chaiwala can become prime minister, that is the Indian culture. Why not? Why not that is impregnated in its practice everywhere? What is this degradation? What is this kind of difference? After all, we have to look in words. Vipashyanti, we have to look in words. Are we believing in equality? Educational scenario, B school culture is having the Brahminic culture, I say. And a student is paying hardly 5 lakh rupees in Dhruva. And his payback period is 10 months to 15 months. Whereas Harvard, they spend 5, 6, 7 lakhs or 20 lakhs, I don't know. But their payback period is 20 months. They don't compare. And there is chain schools. When the evaluation rating credits are given by rating agencies, how can they compare the chain schools, the ICFI? They've got half dozen universities. There are so many universities, they have got chains. But we are standalone, I say. How can you compare? How can I compare a what do you call, what is that, kirana shop with D-Mart or bigger marts? They are chains, I say. They are powerful. How do you compare a Ivy League with a two-tier college? These things must be kind of rectified. I ask the august audience here to think in these terms and think of kind of what is the food. I say food. I'm reminded of food. We don't use the wash basin. We put a glass and a bucket so that the water usage is least. Water conservation is important. And we are fond of trees, I say. We consider a tree as God, cow as a mother. And food wastage, I say. Food wastage. I have seen so many times. Both my children are in America. They waste about 90% of the food they buy in the restaurants. What a tragedy, please. What a tragedy. Annapurne, Sadapurne, Shankara Pranavallabhe, Jnana Vairagya Siddhyartham Bhikshandehi cha Parvati. Goddess Parvati is Annam. In our college dining hall, if somebody is leaving a morsel, a grain of food, I will take him to task. So many people are dying. So many things are happening. Education should go to the roots of life, roots of living, roots of quality of living, not standard of living. Who cares, I say? Somebody beautifully said, and I close it, with all my desires unsatiable, I amassed material possessions. And awfully, with all my material possessions, I languish in desire. Why? Why this amassing the material possessions? Janko, andar janko. Andar janko. Anobhadra katuventu vishwatha. Let noble thoughts come to us from every side. Thank you very much for your patient hearing.
Namaskar, sir. Thank you so much for enlightening with your wisdom to all of us. And definitely there are many takeaways from your wonderful deliberation. And we'll try to keep up to your expectation in whatever best possible way we can do it at individual level or at our own institutional level. As Sir rightly said, that it's more to do. People are talking that the world is taking fresh breath due to this COVID-19 situation. The pollution has come to an end. And this COVID-19 situation is also people are attributing to the climate change. And as a result of that, so I think environmental issues, we know in engineering programs that environmental studies is given as a subject in the curriculum. What we believe that it should be part of all disciplines, cutting across all programs. Not only that, keeping it in the curriculum, but at the same time, can we think of paperless campus? Can we think of e-campus? I think these are some of the new thoughts which have come up of late due to COVID-19 challenges. And definitely, can we go for wind power? Can we go for water reservation? Can we cut down the working cost? There was an experiment in Germany wherein they brought down the working days from 6 days to 3 days, and they could save a lot of energy, lot of resources. At the same time, they could see that productivity was also same like before. So these are some of the experiments which were done before sorry, this COVID-19 situation. I think we need to look fresh because of these challenges. And moving forward, as Sir rightly said, the National Education Policy 2020 is a great intervention to create employable graduates, to give multiple exits during their course of studies up to graduation, and vocational course, integrating vocational course from sixth standard onwards. I think these are path breaking initiatives by Government of India. Anyhow, there will be some challenges, like three language formula has become a center of debate in some of the states. Those things always will be there, and we need to amicably address those for the interest of the country, for the interest of our students, the future leaders of the world. Thank you once again, respected Chairman Dr. S. Pratap Reddy sir, for the keynote speech and enlightening all of us on the subject and beyond the heritage and the culture what India had in the past, and why we have lost the road during the journey, and how the course correction is happening at present time. That was wonderful learning for all of us. Now, I request Dr. Prabhakar Wadekar sir, who is the chairman for MTC Global Advisory Board and is a very, very learned person. I have seen very few of his caliber, like Dr. S. Pratap Reddy sir, Dr. Wadekar, Sri Briyando Goel sir, and there are handful few those who are really a wisdom, a repository of wisdom, and the nation, not only the nation, the world can learn lot of new insights, lot of new thoughts from them. And we must, I always believe that we must make use of this as long they are with us. So I request Honorable Chairman MTC Global Advisory Board, Dr. Prabhakar Wadekar sir, to kindly address the August gathering. It would be great to listen to you. Sir, are you present?
Yes, I'm present.
Dr. Wadekar sir?
Yes, yes. Thank you, President. Hello.
Dr.
Thank-
Prabhakar Wadekar sir?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I'm speaking.
Are you present?
Yes, yes.
We can hear him.
Hello. Hello.
Mr. Prabhakar is speaking. Mr. Prabhakar is speaking. He is present.
Hello.
There may be some technical issues, as always expected, and whenever sir is present to continue with his deliberation. No, sir has come. Sir has come. Prabhakar sir, kindly please address.
Hello, Mr. President. Hello.
Thank you, sir. We are able to hear you. Please continue.
Yeah, sure. Good morning to everybody, my brothers and sisters. Today's topic is very interesting. Connecting medicine to education. Now, we have to go to the root of the issue, education. That means what of education, where it is to be taken care of, how it is to be taken care of, when it is to be taken care of, so and so forth. As you saw, you are aware that education is a man-made system, totally artificial. You don't find any education systems in other living creatures. And therefore, you will find that we have to always go on improving our education systems right from the last 6,000 years or so. Now, when you look at the Asian Indian culture, we have got 4 pillars of life to lead a meaningful life. That is dharma, artha, kam, and moksha. Moksha means to lead a meaningful life. How you can lead a meaningful life? Observing certain dharma. Dharma means not religion. It is the rules and regulations, practices, rituals that can be applied to artha, that is the finance, economics, development, and also through our calm. Calm is the greenness, basically, and that is the objective of education, to convert a man into a total human man, total evolution of human man. That is the meaning of education. Now, where it should be taken care of? It is to be taken care of in institutions. As you know, that about 6,000 years earlier, we had Gurukul systems. What is Gurukul system? It is living and tuition free. There is only Guru Dakshina, but normally accepted by the Gurus. And moreover, you will find the Gurus are self-financed, in the sense they used to earn their livelihood either through farming or through certain produce like cows, like mentoring cow sets. And primarily you will find that this is the culture of Gurukul systems. We have got very good institutions called as Asian Indian universities. They were operative till about 6000 BC, but then by the 8th century, they were burned to ashes. Then we come across what is known as the factory system. Factory system was introduced in the 18th century, and it has got two objectives: economic development through exploitation. That is, if you want to earn more profit, you have to exploit the people. Now, this is actually, as already been discussed by earlier speaker, Honorable Dr. Pratap Reddy ji, on 2nd February 1835, Lord Macaulay addressed the UK Parliament, and he advised the Parliament that if you want to win over India, the land of gold, you will have to tackle two issues of India. That are strong points: the education system, and also the other point is social harmony. And you will find that he introduced what is known as the British model. I call it as the Macaulay model, and still it is being followed in India. We are lucky that our National Education Policy 2020 has incorporated some roots of Indian education system about 6,000 years earlier. Now, when you come back to this, and about 1779, so one of those scientists, Lucy, he told that basically he was against the machines, and he said that in future the man will be jobless, but it's not happened so, because when you change the technology, you can change the certain, you can absolute, some jobs become absolute, and some jobs are, new jobs are created. If you come across another research paper, I came across a research paper recently by Luca Rossi, maybe about 2 years or later back. The title is "Forget About the Coding and Philosophy is the Job of the Future." And there she is discussing 4 elements of human life which can lead to meaningful life, and that is the line of morality, the line of consciousness, then alignment, and then we come across the 4th one as the meaningful life. This is how we can see the journey of education systems in the entire world. Now let us turn back again to United Nations. About a couple of years earlier, they introduced what is known as development goals, sustainable development goals, SDG, and there are 17 sustainable goals. Now, one of the goals is to give the education, to cater effective education to the generations, to the kids. That is number 4. And if you look at the other goals from 5 to 17, They're basically for economic development. Now, when you combine these educations with these economic development goals, what do you achieve? The first three goals. That means no poverty, zero hunger, and also will find the healthy and meaningful life. That is what they have decided, what they have designed for the entire world. And by it is expected by 2030, some of the goals can be achieved. Now, this is what the total affair or environment of education systems in India and all over the world. Now, today I'm going to tackle with two basic issues that if you want to cater effective education, there has to be some sort of other approaches. That means I'm going to see over two things about the academic institutions, the financial sustainable development and environmental sustainable development. If you are having sustainable development, you can think about the sustainability. Now let us go back again to the first issue of sustainable development for financial point of view. Now you see, we have to again turn back to our earlier models. But I can also add a few more things. For example, say we have got a lot of laboratories all over the institutes. Why not to generate revenue through these? I'm expecting at least 30% revenue generation through these labs. That means you can go for designing a new program, skill development programs. You can go for the maintenance work. You can go for the repairing work. You can go for the servicing work. You can go for consultancy. You go for community services, and through which you can generate 30% of your expenses. I'm expecting that education to all must be free. There should not be any fees charged to our kids because it is the investment for the future generations. Another point is that we can increase the sales on income tax by 10%. Now, India is full of, India is a very religious country, secular country, and then we get a lot of donations to these religious places. Why not to go for 10% cess on these religious places? 10% cess on the donations they are receiving every year. There's, you can say, for example, why not to add 5% Guru Dakshina to our graduates who pass out from the institutions throughout their life. These are some of the ways through which you can think of the sustainability financially of our institutions. Other point, the other issue for us is sustainable development for environmental. Now, this is a big issue. Now, in this case, you will find that what we can do, we can at least have a average programs or at least one course per semester on environmental engineering and sciences. So another part is that environment is concerned, we can reduce the coursework. Presently, university has got the load of 30 to 35 hours per week. Why not to reduce it to 16 hours or 15 hours per week, giving more emphasis on practical and field work, as it was given the Gurukul system, because most of the disciples, they have to work in farms or jungles. We can work our students in our hospitals, they can work in industry, they can work in agriculture, and they can work in any other field of which can contribute to the development of the country. So this is what we can think about it. Similarly, every institution should have a share of environmental sustainability, because our main focus will be how to go for environmental sustainability. And you will find that we can do many things in environmental sustainability through institutions. Say, for example, we have got NSS, National Service Schemes. In all the universities, it is mandatory. What actually they are contributing, our youth, we spend say crores of rupees on that to all over India. But what is the output for that? Say, being a man of industrial engineering, I always look for productivity and effectiveness. And therefore, when I invest 1 crore of rupees in the NSS activities or NCC activities, what actually I'm getting out of it? The return on investment. That is very important. So this force can be directed to work on these lines so that we can use their services for community and other purposes. So these some of the ways how much through which we can go for environmental sustainability. So therefore, my friends, my request is that try to develop our institution which are sustainable in both ways, financially as well as environmentally. So, and autonomy is beyond that. Autonomy is something different. Autonomy is only possible if you have got sustainable institutions and also sustainable institutions environmentally and financially. So our objective is to operate on these two issues which are giving a lot of trouble to us and which are facing many problems through each. So this is what exactly we can do in this area. Now, my friends, therefore request you that one have to work on these two lines. And any peak, of course, can be taken care of through these particular two means: sustainable development of financial and sustainable development of environment, spreading through the complete generation, complete society, community. My friend, therefore, I appeal to all our fraternity brothers to work in this area. Now, already our Honorable President Bhoranaji has given certain glimpses and features of MTC. But I think I could add something more, something more as I come across. The first thing that it has got 10 years life. It is a non-profit organization. We work without any remuneration. It is just a free service for MTCG. Second part, that we have started our activities every year through a mega event earlier known as Sankalpa. And 4 years earlier, we started with Sankalpa converted into what is known as the 7th World Education Summit. And today we are on the verge of the 10th World Education System Summit. So this is what exactly the MTC is doing. Apart from that, you will find that we recognize teachers, institutions, professionals, and give them awards every year. Number of awards will be as good as 50 to 100 awards, depending upon the different types of. We also award some programs like fellow program of MTC. There is one wonderful aspects of MTCG is that we are publishing certain books and experts in the areas that contribute to the chapters in the books. So far, we have covered 7 to 8 books, project books, and also we publish monthly magazine on management side. My friends, MTCG, though it is called as Management Teacher Consortium, it works in all sectors of education. It may be primary, it may be secondary, it may be engineering, it may be management, so on and so forth. I hope that because of the support of the professionals, because of the supports of the individual members, because of the supports of UN, United Nations, we do have, because of the support of foreign countries like Bangladesh, Thailand, and other countries, we can survive and we can take care of the challenges of the situation. My friends, therefore, my heights to the MTCG Global for their excellent work carried out on the ground in India. At the end, the last but not the least, I would like to thank our Honorable President for giving me the opportunity to express my views on this August occasion. I also express my wholehearted thanks to our management, Professor Munish Sharma, General Secretary of Gramodik Shikshan Mandal, Aurangabad, and Dr. Yadnavir Kavade, a product of Gurukul system, Arya Samaj, with the president of our Gramodik Shikshan Mandal. Because of the support, I could come to this level. I can come to support MTCG. I was also thankful to my family members and basically my young daughter, a last year student, who did 2 times haircuts during the lockdown period of 5 months. isn't it? And sees how it is managing the whole show of today. I thank you all once more. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Namaskar, sir. Thank you so much for your presence and enlightening all of us. When Sat asked me which is the particular area you like me to address, I said, sir, the overall theme is no climate change and the role of education. But it would be good if you can talk something which is very relevant and of much interest is how climate change is connected with institutional sustainability. So Sir has given a write-up, soft copy, which is with me, and Sir asked me to circulate to all the participants, those who have joined today, and also I'll circulate in the MTC Global platform for awareness and for understanding how environmental issues are linked to it, financial sustainability of an institution. Thank you so much, sir, for your presence and for your blessings. And at this age, sir is very active, very young, and always encourages and motivates all of us 24/7, more active than me, I believe. And that's a blessing for all of us that we have such stalwarts in academia like Dr. Wadekar sir, Dr. Pratap Reddy sir, Sri Birendra Goel, and we also have today Dr. Chandrasekhar Natarajan sir, whom I can see. Sir is also with us for a long time during his stay in Germany, and he has come back to India, but he always supports all out to MTC Global activities. And that's a pleasure. As I rightly put it across, this is a non-for-profit initiative, and our biggest achievement is our impact on day-to-day life, on academia, on different aspects, on how we can improvise the academic quality, spatially, and also at individual level, how each one of us can pursue for greater achievement with continuous learning. So MTC Global has become phenomenal in creating knowledge, in disseminating knowledge, in connect to it. That's why our philosophy is share, care, and learn with a vision of educate, empower, elevate. Thank you so much once again for your presence. Now I request the chief guest for today's inaugural program, Barrister Samim Haidar Patwari sir, who is the youngest member of Parliament in Bangladesh, visionary leader, a dynamic person, even this COVID situation in across his constituency, remote area in Bangladesh, contributing food relief work to the flood affected people. And that's a great example of a charismatic leadership. And I believe that Dhaka International University is privileged to have of a kind-hearted human being of his stature as open of Dhaka National University. Request Samim Patwari to kindly deliver the chief guest address for 10th World Edu Summit. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, you are audible. Your video is not, we are not able to see you, but you are audible.
Oh, yeah, can you see me now?
No, sir.
Can you see me now?
No, sir. But your sound is good. You are audible.
Okay, okay, just right. Thank you, everybody. And I was wondering, and I was extremely overwhelmed by that I have been designated as the position of chief guest, and so much wonderful deliberation we have listened so far. Um, we all facing the one of the gravest pandemic human being or human civilization have ever faced, of course. And of course, according to Oxfam, we're going to face economic largest decline in economy since 1933. And of course, it will have impact in policy framing. It will have impact in education. It will have impact on health, and it will impact on social justice and everything. So Oxfam says coronavirus reminds us that we all deserve to be treated equally and have the same basic rights because no one can be safe unless everyone is safe. This requires solidarity to collective policy to tackle both public health and economic crisis. And our economy and our social system and our political bureaucracy is always coupled with a bad term called neo-patrimonialism. It is a form of syndication of economic policy. It's a new form of political elitist mode, a new form of business elitist who are really influencing the policy making. And unfortunately, when they influence in policy making, even this corona period, education is not their priority. But education should be our priority of priorities. Because if we can't give education, the future will be lost as well as the present will be lost. So when we started in Dhaka University in 6 months ago, we decided that even during Corona, we'll move on. And then we have a meeting with all teachers, all faculties, board of trustees, syndicates, and everybody. And there is then we decided that we'll start our online classes. And there was a huge challenge for a mid-level university from Dhaka to start a full-fledged online courses. And then there is a student movement that we're not equipped with online classes, we're not comfortable with online classes, we're not even financially viable to attend online classes. That was the initial students' reactions. So then we form a policy that will allow everyone to attend class, will allow everyone to attend exam. So we give a general declaration in Dhaka University that even if you can't pay the fee, you'll be allowed to sit for exam during this corona period. So attend the online class. If you are ready to pay a fee, and if you give full fee, you will give 20% waiver instantly. And if you can't give fee, you will be given an installment offer as per your capacity, and you will be allowed to sit for exam. And that created a sensation and a synergy among the students, and they started attending classes. And we finished 2 semesters during Corona, and you'll be surprised to know our regular dropout from exam is above 10%. But during the Corona period, our dropout rate is below 10%. So we progressed. We didn't lost students. We didn't lost students' confidence. So obviously, the education institutions, they are going to face enormous fund crisis in the upcoming days. But crisis of fund can be tackled. But crisis of enthusiasm from students, teachers, faculties, and top management, that you cannot really cover up. So we are trying to create a enthusiastic online or virtual campus system where student will feel more enthusiastic, where student will feel more participating. And during this last 2 months, even in law department, we arranged 20 additional lectures, specialized lectures, so that students don't feel digital boredom or digital intoxication. That we are doing because so that students feel that they're getting more than before Corona. So before Corona, we used to have a dropout rate of above 10%. Now we are having a dropout rate of less than 10%, which is our really a big achievement even during this Corona. So we are taking this Corona not as only as a challenge, but also as an opportunity. And we have formally decided, even after Corona, to cut the budget, to cut our budget and everything. We will adopt a policy that 30% of the course of all department will conduct through online. This is important, and this is something you cannot avoid it, because we are in the era of really fourth industrial revolution, or whatever you say, and definitely the power of internet and social media we really cannot overlook. In the current population, 7.7 billion people of the world, out of them 4.5 billion people use internet, and 60% of the world population now is online. And there is also discrimination as to access to internet. 55% of men use internet worldwide, and 45% of women use internet. So this discrimination is also needed to be eliminated as soon as possible. So in this phase, whether we face corona or whether we don't face corona, but we have to really, really focus on flipped classroom, blended learning, as well as recorded classroom. So what we are doing basically, whenever a teacher is giving online lectures, we record it and then we publish it in our official website or Facebook account or group, whatever, so that the students, if they want, they again can look into the recorded class and clarify their issues, and then we have a later version of clarification classes. So this is the way we are handling this COVID. And with the first generation university, we started online classes during this corona. And surprisingly, we have a private university here and we have a public university. Surprisingly, almost 30 private universities started online classes, and so far only 7 public university they started online classes. So we can use resource and everything. Even public universities are lag behind in starting this thing. So I like to say something about education, and of course, I personally believe that education means collaboration at the moment and partnership. And the problem we are facing is that, as I told, because of the neo-patrimonialism and overwhelming impact of business community in framing the policy, we doubtful whether education will be the priority of priorities. But education must be the priority of priorities. And also, the bureaucracy in Indian subcontinent, including Bangladesh, they are not always willing to have the partnership or collaboration conceptions. So in 1922, British Prime Minister David Lloyd says Indian civil service are still framed. You cannot penetrate them, and they will not allow anyone to penetrate it. So the government education mechanism that so far has been handled by bureaucracy, it needs to be distributed among the educational institutions. And government must give subsidy to all public and private universities and other institutions, so that we can create a better future for the nation, so that we can really use this COVID situation for upgrading the skills and talents. So one critic, Barbara Woolton, he says, education has been happily defined as the technique of transmitting civilization. So if we don't collaborate, how can we get this civilization transmission? And Ronnie Shuala recently in an article, he says about India, education is the rock on which India must build her political salvation. Our country will be built not on brick but on brain, not on cement but on enlightenment. If we cannot afford education, we cannot afford to remain a civilized society. So it is important that the top level of government, including the member of parliament, the ministers, and also the prime ministers, they think that education should be the top priority, and we have to prevent the dropout of students. That is important. We have to prevent the dropout of institutions. This is also important. A number of tertiary level institutions or below tertiary level institutions, they are going to shut down in the upcoming days. And if the government incentive, or if the government COVID incentive be transmitted to those institutions, so that they can make the education cheaper or tuition free and sustained, then of course we can really cope the COVID situation better. And I personally believe that the government must donate huge fund or interest-free loan to students and to institutions to face this COVID situation. In the parliament, I just finished the session of the parliament yesterday, 2 days back. So I categorically mentions that every student, whether he is from public university or from private university, must be given a interest-free loan or incentive, or he must be given a smartphone or tab or some computer or laptop so that they can attend classes virtually, and it must be interest free or free. And the institution can be public or private, but the students cannot be public or private. All students are students. They are citizens of the country, and they should be treated equally. There should not be any discrimination in this COVID period between public university students and private university students. So many of the learned speakers mentioned about ancient Indians education tradition. Of course, Nalanda was our proud national pride, and of course our Indian pride. And so far I know 10,000 students used to study in Nalanda all over the world. And the trains was not from here to Europe, but from Europe to here. And Nalanda was a completely free education institutions. He used to take care of the expenses. Whoever take oath as a king, the one of the oath was he will take care of the education institutions. And also Nalanda was completely residential university. The only first residential university in the world is Indian Nalanda University. So we have to bring back those values, those models, those structures back to India and Bangladesh, of course. And I personally believe MCT Global is an excellent platform in creating those values, in creating those partnership, in creating those collaboration. And I have no hesitation to say I attended so far 4 or 5 MCT Global's annual summit, and I educate myself from the summit. And in operating the Dhaka International University, we take this quick decision of blended learning or online class because of the education we receive from MCT Global's summit. And every time I go to this summit, I meet with so many people, and we request them to take some classes sometimes. And Mr. Brad Datta is a very good organizer, a very learned person, a man of excellent leadership, an excellent management skill, an excellent, honest, and dedicated person. Of course, he is creating a disruptive intervention in the education system of Southeast Asia, and he is creating a role model. And of course, during this COVID period, we need more collaboration, we need more partnership, we need more recorded classes. A sector should be now revealed like Khan Academy in America. We should have lots of recorded classes, and you can so that you can buy them on paying nominal fees and distribute them among the students. If this COVID, we can cope through education, we can save our future, because health-wise we fail. Economy-wise, we're definitely going to fail, no doubt about it. But if education we can sustain, and education we can keep safe, education we can keep continuous in nature, obviously we can save our future, and our economy will be safe then, our health will be safe, and ecology will be safe. Everything will be safe. So I will not take much longer time. It is a wonderful experience to attend this summit as always. I miss the great food of South Indian food because every time I go to Bangalore, one of the reasons I attend this conference is to taste the South Indian dosa, idli, and samba. I am a big fond of Indian food, but this virtual meeting really is virtual, and also this virtual meeting I can see the participant number is huge, and the image and the knowledge and skill of the participants and the depth of knowledge the participants have, and the learning process and the vice versa learning process is really something to be praiseworthy and highly appreciated. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. See you again. I hope we all able to cope this COVID situation. I hope we all able to really cope this COVID situation and make our world better than before. as it was in COVID, before COVID. Thank you, everybody. Yes. Hello, Mr. Datta.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir, for
Thank you.
your disruptive thoughts on present situation and how we can overcome, and how Dhaka International University specifically taking the leads for online teaching learning process, online examination, and collaboration with many Indian academic institutions and across the world. That is phenomenal, in my opinion, and I have no doubt to put in record that coming days, Dhaka International University, Dhruva College of Management, and some other institutes who are coming out all the way to join hands, looking for partnership to share knowledge across the boundary, will lead the way. Thank you once again for your presence, having a very busy schedule in the parliament, and we all are blessed to have you for today's inaugural program as a chief guest. Ladies and gentlemen, we also have some of the eminent personalities present for today's program. On behalf of MTC Global, I would like to extend our heartfelt thanks to Professor P.K. Keshav from Ludhiana, who always joins our program. The Edu Summit comes all the way to Bangalore to attend it physically. We have Dr. Muhammad Mehboob Ali, one of the noted economist, macroeconomist, and educationist in Bangladesh, who is also one of the panel speakers working as a professor in leading Dhaka School of Economics, a constituent body under prestigious Oxford of the East, Dhaka University. We also have Mr. Sahil Kaul, a very young, dynamic, and energetic person and leader and coach, a mentor. We have Dr. Sirajul Islam Pradhan, the Director of Institutional Quality Assurance Cell, Dhaka International University, a great leader, taking a lot of initiatives in the area of quality and international collaboration. We have Dr. Deepak Tandon from International Management Institute, Delhi, who is a very well-renowned professor, along with his wife, who is a professor of Jagannath University. We are pleased to have both of them. We have Mr. Dhananjay Phadke, a very eminent startup mentor, advisor, and counselor. Along with that, there are so many, Professor P.K. Burman from Calcutta, and so many other distinguished delegates present here. Dr. Ramachandran, whom I can see from Annamalai University, he always makes sure that he is present in all of our programs. And that is, in fact, the love and affection which we have, the bonding which we have. I truly believe that in this globalized village, the affection, love, and heart-to-heart connections will go in a long way. Thank you so much for all of your presence. Now, let us move on to the panel discussion. As always, for all our Edu Summit, we have one person as a chairperson for the panel discussion all the years throughout. And he is today amongst us one of the greatest well-wishers and founding members of MTC Global, Mr. Ramesh Vemuganti sir. He was former CEO, Vice President of IT company, traveled across the world, presently a member of Telangana Skill Development Council. He's also the CEO and founder of Chanakya Consulting, the former president of Hyderabad Management Association, a very humble, down-to-earth, a great human being who can connect with all of us and dedicated his life for the sake of student community, teachers, and the academic world, and contributing his service, relentless service, day in and day out for the cause without any benefit expectation of any result. And I think he is a great person for all of us to listen to him and to conduct the panel discussion on the theme, impact of climate change and role of education. And I request our beloved Mr. Ramesh Bhemuganti sir to kindly please take over from me and take the session forward. Thank you so much, sir.
Am I audible now, please? Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible. You're audible now, please, sir.
That's the first thing we need to ensure on online programs. Thank you, Professor Bholanath. Okay, wonderful takeoff, lovely session going on. Okay, huge knowledge sharing, dissemination. People are absorbing, okay, reflecting a lot of things. COVID is all over us, and you also chosen the right topic, the most needed topic, which everyone is combating. Initially, when people look at this topic, we wonder in what way has this topic got to do with management education. But it has a lot to do with education per se. It has a lot to do with higher education and also management education, which all of us can also share a few thoughts in the permitted time. Now we have a galaxy of speakers. I request each speaker to spend about 8 to 9 minutes so that we conclude this session in 1 hour. The last 10 minutes we can devote for Q&A, and anything can be taken offline later on. I'll give an introduction and then we will take off with the speakers. It's a truly global seminar. Let's give a round of applause, please. I think that's something which has been missing this morning. Everyone, kindly, we would like to hear the claps now. It's good for health. It's also good for MTC and location. Thank you. Thank you. Education is the foundation upon which we build our future, stated Christian Gregoire. Now, it's very clear now. People talk about business continuity. Okay. Thanks to online education, we have education continuity. Yes, there are challenges. There are issues. As our Bangladesh academician and politician also stated very clearly, Dr. Pratap Reddy sir also stated, yes, but the fact remains that if we are meeting today in this pandemic, it is thanks to the online education. It is thanks to the online technologies. And let's give a round of applause for all those people who built up the platforms, the tools, the technologies, the process in an online way, and ensuring that the whole education is continuing at every level, school level, higher education, management education, all types. That's important. Then we have the edtechs coming up in a big way. We have platforms. We have virtual universities. The whole thing is going in a direction. Okay, so nothing can stop education. Even COVID cannot stop education. COVID can stop business. COVID can stop jobs. COVID has affected all the areas in the world, not education. That is what we have to understand, and let us give the message to everybody. And education results in knowledge. Education results in learning. And knowledge defeats fear. Why are people fearful today? Because there is less knowledge. The more knowledge we have, okay, the less we fear. It's very simple. And MTC Global, this is one forum globally, I would say, one of the few forums online. Phenomenal knowledge sharing is happening in a selfless manner at the highest level and pedestal by dedicated and committed academicians, okay, and management faculty and management fraternity, the professors, the deans, the professionals, okay, resulting in huge service to the humanity. The outcome is absolutely wonderful. Today, a faculty knows how to teach a management subject by reading a few mails in MTC Global. Many researchers are doing the research on MTC Global. This is very important that I should mention this point so that we are all on the same page. So it is sustainability the right way. There are many management forums in the country. I am also associated. I do not want to name them. But what is their contribution to management education vis-a-vis MTC Global? Okay, it is not much. Whereas we are purely dedicated. As simple as that. Coming to the topic of the day, combating climate control, role of education. The 20th century is the warmest of the past millennium. 1990s, the highest recorded temperatures have started. Earlier in India, we experiencing only summer was 3 months. Today, summer is 10 months, right? Every metro, every city, every villages are also burning. It is not just, shining. There is no sunshine. It is all sunburn. Okay, it is very clear. So climate control is replaced today by global warming and extreme temperatures which are going out of the system. Okay, UN formulated the great 17 Sustainable Development Goals in 2012. A lot of seminars are being held. Today, webinars are also held. But then the outcome is of equally important. And number 13 in the 17 goals is climate action, which is very important. The world has definitely become a better place, and there is awareness across economies and sectors globally on climate control. In 2013, an international panel on climate control has confirmed that there is a human influence on 5 things. That is the reason why we are having the seminar. 1, the warming of oceans and atmospheres. It is absolutely going out of control. 2, challenges in global water cycle. 3, reduction in snow and ice. Glaciers are melting. Ecosystem is getting disturbed. 4, global mean sea level rise. And finally, extreme climate changes. If you look at India, the recent floods in Bengal, in Assam, in Kerala, and most of the time Chennai and Bombay, I think every year they should have this water drowning, and at least 1 week will go in that only. Okay, this is all a result of the climate change and climate going out of control. It's very obvious, which all of us have been reading day in and day out. Even Rishikesh and also your all the holy places are getting disturbed because we have tampered with the ecosystems there. Okay, so finally, what does it all convey? We have not respected the environment. The message is very clear, right? As Benjamin Franklin said, investment in knowledge pays the best interest. So let us invest in knowledge, the right knowledge by which we start respecting the environment, and we ensure that we don't have these floods and storms and gales and winds and cyclone, okay, and extreme scorching heat by which people are getting affected in every possible way. Learning leads to knowledge. The continuous learning is the name of the game. Now let us look at the students and youth, the role of education in combating climate change. If you look at the students and youth, the students especially from 5 to 15, that is the age group where we have to focus on understanding of climate control. Okay, and the youth especially from the 16 to 25. What can they do? First of all, what are they today? They have gaming literacy. They have Facebook literacy. They have Instagram literacy. They have social media literacy. They have digital literacy. Anything digital, they understand quickly. You don't have to teach them. But what is important is they need environment literacy. They need climate literacy. And if they understand environment and climate, it will be a humanity literacy. So human angle is missing. Today in COVID also, as one point I would like to mention, in the present environment, many people are looking for jobs and getting frustrated, most of the youth losing jobs, okay, and issues. They should understand one thing, acceptance. Are COVID mein kahan milega bhai job? Right? You have to understand acceptance and adaptability. You need to understand that the situation is a pandemic. It is not just one more disease. Yes, it is much better than 1918 when we had a pandemic of Spanish flu. The world was not that advanced scientifically and technologically. But still, we have to wait. Waiting is the name of the game. Accept and adopt. So that is what we need to teach them. And they will learn, okay, with this focus on environment and climate. So, couple of things for the students, what they can do. One, they can create eco groups in the schools. Some students are already doing it. In India, हमारे पास क्या है? There are some cities which are far advanced in environment practices, and in some cities and some most of the institutions, they do not understand what is environment. So this gap has to be closed. It is something like the IITs and the IIMs, the top institutions on one side, and a majority of other institutions. Everyone is into their own trip. It cannot happen. Sustainability is connectivity, please. The technology transfer has to take place from the best institutions to the other institutions. This is what is suggestion. Create an eco group, calculate carbon footprint, reduce wastage, visit continuous visits to the farms and nurseries. What is practiced in the European and American schools, where students learn about animals, they learn about plants. So they go for a preservation of all these things. And finally, the climate control is having a global response. Okay. In global response, education is an essential element. Okay. It helps the students in three ways. One, a better understanding of impact of the global warming. Two, it encourages changes in attitudes and behaviors. I think the biggest challenge which all of us are facing as faculty also is a change. We are actually looking for a change, trying our best to change the attitudes and behavior. Once we achieve the change in the behavior and attitude, everything else will follow suit. Whatever we teach, they will understand. Okay. So till you change the students and their mindsets, its teaching also doesn't have much of an impact. And also teach adaptability to the children and youth, okay, with all the climate related changes. I would like to conclude with 2 points. One, the Franklin Roosevelt stated, ultimately, what is this seminar all about? Role of education. We are preparing the students. We are preparing the youth. The great American president stated that we cannot always build a future for our youth, but we can build our youth for a future. It's time that we focus on youth and building the youth for the future, because future is not in our hands. Okay, nobody expected COVID 6 months back. We don't know what's going to happen 6 months back, but if the children are prepared, if the youth are prepared, then the whole perspective would change and they can be better prepared to tackle the future. That is the final message which we need to understand. So let's start with the speakers in a sequential manner. From management perspective, I would like to share, because we are all management people, we will be restless if we don't talk about management, okay, in any seminar. Now, what can management education do to this particular seminar, this challenge we are facing, right? Management education is all about concepts, models, processes, and changes, okay, and systems. Now, the principles of management, the change management, the technology management, the knowledge management, the digital management, and all the various functional areas of management from sales, HR, finance, supply chain management, all of them have process, all of them have models, all of them have systems, and all of them have concepts. They can be applied to lessen the damage to climate control. That could be the message. Okay, we can even deliberate in the subsequent platforms, okay, to curb the climate control and make the world a better place to live in. That is where the management education is useful. Now, I would like to go on to the panelists. Thank you very much for this initial introduction and hearing part. Okay, we have 4 eminent speakers, one from Netherlands, one from Bangladesh, and 2 eminent personalities from India. We will start with the Europe, the Netherlands, the hotbed of COVID, lot of discussion, lot of news. Okay, Dr. Ross Van Dier is available. Dr. Ross, please.
Sir, I think he is right now not available. So if he joins in between, always he is most welcome. But
Okay.
we also have Professor Dr. Muhammad Mehboob Ali sir, who is
Okay.
also one of the panel speakers, who is
Okay.
present. Thank you, sir.
Dr. Nadia Binte Amin. She's
Sound.
also, yes.
Yes, I'm here. Sound.
Yes, Dr. Amin, I think I'll just introduce you in a few, okay, to start with. She's an achiever from Bangladesh. She's the managing director of research and computing services. Okay, very keen to follow and share and learn and impart. Now, Dr. Amin, now you can start.
Okay. Thank you very much. First of all, I'm feeling very privileged to be part of this MTC and today's event. Thanks to Professor Bholanath all the dignitaries here. So first of all, I would like to introduce myself. I'm Dr. Nadia bint Amin. I'm basically an entrepreneur, and I'm leading an women entrepreneur organization as a founder president. That's a trade body named WED. Okay, so I would like to discuss about combating climate change, role of education today. So, ladies and gentlemen, today I will talk about an issue which has been in the limelight for quite some time, rightfully so. The issue of global warming. We have more to do than what people think it to be. We need to contribute to tackling more efficiently to reducing global warming, we are facing the climate change. So we should talk more about it, so as we talk more about it, it will have impact generation after generation, and mass extinction of beings and species will take place, as we know, due to this climate change. The world will lose its balance gradually, as we have been told. So we recognize that climate change poses serious risk and challenges to all the countries, particularly developing countries. Addressing climate change will be fundamental to safeguarding and advancing progress towards the Millennium Development Goals. I would like to focus on some of the points United Nations mentioned in their international panel discussion in climate change. Number one, climate change is progressing and will have widespread effects on human life and natural systems, as they mentioned. Number two, they mentioned climate change is a key causative factor in increase heat waves, flooding, droughts, intense tropical cyclones, rising sea levels, and loss of biodiversity. And number three, the average number of disasters caused by natural hazards has increased in last 20 years from 200 a year to more than 400 today. And finally, we see that this is predicted to increase by as much as 320% in the next upcoming 20 years, which is very alarming. And also, people and particularly children living in poverty in underdeveloped countries with weak governance and poor education systems are the hardest hit by climate change. The effect of the physical consequences, more frequent extreme weather, melting glaciers, and shorter growing seasons adds to the existing pressures for that society, especially that under developing society. So, for example, we can mention, like, Tuvalu as an example, that there is an island Tuvalu which is going to be least visited country in the world. They will go underwater due to rise in water level. It's keeping carbon footprint due to a human cycle, and also from our experiences from pandemic, we see that beyond greenhouse effect, pollution, aquatic life was seen. So, as a result, pandemic, human beings were facing very disaster and threats. But what we saw that aquatic life was very lively. They were coming into the natural life, and Mother Nature showed us that they needed a break during this pandemic also. So before it gets too late, we need to generate awareness, and obviously through education. We need to see, I will quote from Jen Fonda. She mentioned about generating awareness regarding combating climate change and what should we do. If we do not, she mentioned, if we do not talk about it, if we do not care about it, we are not going to do anything about it. So we have to talk about it, at family dinners, even with our uncle who doesn't believe in it. We have to listen to people, find out what they care about, and then preach what we want to say to them according to what they care about. So, how climate changes are being perceived. Different research shows that climate change is a very controversial topic yet. Some people assert that climate change is not occurring, and others believe that reports are inaccurate. That whilst climate change is happening, it may not be caused by human activity. There are also climate alarmists who support their claims that erratic weather patterns are a result of climate change caused by human activity. Regardless of these different viewpoints, one fact can be agreed upon. Climate change is a complex subject and there is a need to educate future generations. Now our focus should be how it can be taught in schools and how public education can be carried out to increase awareness. It instructs what specific subject matter to teach for climate change education and how to evaluate the student learning procedure on the subject. Chapters might include climate change education in the formal curriculum, teacher readiness for uh, climate change education assessment for, and also the curriculum of lessons mm, from public education, and also useful resources for anyone involved in educating students on climate change and also for those interested in climate change itself. Teachers' readiness for CC assessment for and of CC, lessons from CC for public education. Climate change education is an extremely useful resource for anyone involved in educating students on climate change and also for those interested in climate change itself. It focuses on how learners of climate change, climate science understand messages on climate change, the communicative context for education on climate change, the barriers that can be found to public engagement with climate change issues, and how these barriers can be addressed, the content of CC, visualization, framing, audience segmentation. So it recommends that scholars of environmental education focus critical attention on how practice addresses senses and spheres of agencies, socio-cultural factor and complexities of developing scientific literacy, given the interpretative frames, prior understanding that are brought to bear by the public in non-formal education settings. However, the education sector offers a currently untapped opportunity to combat climate change. There is a clear education agenda in climate change adaptation and mitigation strategies, which require learning new knowledge and skills and changing behaviors in order to reduce the vulnerabilities and manage the risk of climate change. Therefore, investing in quality education climate change is an essential tool in achieving the MDGs. This reviews the current policies and actions on climate change and the barriers to engaging the education sector in the discussions on climate change mitigation and adaptation. As at present, there is no coherent dialogue on how to expand the climate change agenda to include education as a tool in adaptation and mitigation strategies. However, leveraging education for climate change action is indeed possible through existing international agreements and relevant agendas. The brief presence framework for the existing communities of practice to mobilize around in order to promote education and sustainable development, and also integrate disaster risk reduction, quality learning, and environmental and climate change education. Despite being threatened by climate change, the education sector offers an opportunity to combat climate change through contributing to efforts and enhancing the adaptive capacity of ecosystems and learners, thereby reducing vulnerabilities and building resilience. So, what can be the recommendations? So, from recommendations, we know lastly that what should be done in the education sector. We need to actually instill in our primary education level, secondary education level, graduation education level awareness regarding this climate change issue. So, how can we instill in our students, in our through generate awareness? What can be done? We can incorporate in our curriculum. We can give some of the example, like in the primary sector we can have our chapters or courses, and also painting, animation, like there are Mina cartoons, systematic science fair. We can go through debate, workshops, seminars, sightseeing, then tree plantation, pollution, and we can educate them how to be minimalistic, how to do recycling, and how to what are the green environment impact, how to do water treatment. Actually, what we see that, and also